if the battery's all at the bottom of the car, and it's go like NASCAR, you run in, pop it.
Joe Rogan is one of the biggest names in the podcasting scene. His podcasts get incredible numbers, and he has signed a multi-million deal with Spotify for his podcast. He has many different types of guests on the podcast, and this makes for some great content and entertaining conversations. But not all those conversations have pressed Rogan's buttons. We start things off today with a time that Joe Rogan had no control of his own podcast. This was when Neil deGrasse Tyson was a guest on his podcast. Every time Joe tried to get a word in, Neil would just interrupt him. Literally, this was the case during the whole podcast. Rogan tolerated it for a while, but there was a point during the podcast where you could really see him getting annoyed. Take a look.
And I got very fortunate. It was a night where the moon was not out.
Yes. Moon is not the astronomer's favorite thing. Yeah. We want to climb the walls of St. Paul's Cathedral in downtown London. What would you say? No.
Yeah, but are those comparable? I mean, these are
wait, hold on. We want to rappel down.
I think the real problem too is I think it's
if you value mountain climbing.
This time we have Joe Rogan with Ben Shapiro on the JRE, and he was talking about Fallon Fox, who was a transgender who competed in MMA. He said that it was wrong of Fox to compete in female MMA when she was biologically a man. He also made note of some of the things said about the whole situation, and then came out with a really funny statement.
It wasn't even arguments, but so many people were calling me a bigot because of this Fallon Fox thing. It was stunning because it was so confusing to me. I'm like, I'm talking about defending a biological woman. Like these biological women, at least two of them got the beaten out of them by Fallon Fox before they found out that she used to be a man. I'm like, that's not an issue to these people. And so this one woman said, she's always been a woman. And I said, okay, she gave birth, she impregnated a woman and got her pregnant. I go, what about then? She goes, even then.
Yeah. Well,
so even then, she was a woman. She was a woman when she was f***ing a woman with her and getting that woman pregnant. Like, we are in fantasy land.
Yeah, it's
Joe Rogan had Eddie Bravo on his podcast, and this podcast was pretty interesting. This is because, for the most part, Eddie thinks that a lot of things are fake and just conspiracies. That was the case for nuclear bombs, apparently. He strongly believes that nuclear bombs, for all we know, could just be regular bombs. Rogan was trying to explain to him, but Bravo just wouldn't budge. Rogan was a little bit annoyed by this.
I know, but I'm
saying I don't know. But I'm saying
telling you can.
How can people look at a bomb? You're saying someone else figured it out. How can you look at a bomb and
I think you're thinking about shit the wrong way. I really do.
No, I'm just saying, if there was videos of 20 bombs going off, would you be able to pick out the nuclear bombs?
Eddie, they make these giant mushroom clouds. They're very unusual. It's not like a regular bomb.
This clip is a pretty funny one. On the podcast, Rogan started talking about the time he went to buy some sneakers for his kid. He came across some off-white shoes, and he was baffled by the fact that they have a tag still attached to them. He was so confused and actually quite angry that it was actually a thing.
A pair of Nikes for my kid. And they're like, oh, those are off-white. I go, what's up with this green thing?
Yeah,
they're like, oh, you leave that on. I'm like, you. I'm not leaving this stupid plastic tag on. No, you don't leave that on.
Wait, what is it? Can we have a
this
picture?
Thing that people do. That thing. Giant-ass tag. They leave these stupid tags.
Here's another occasion where Joe Rogan gets interrupted by Neil deGrasse. You should see Rogan's face somewhere near the end of this clip. You can see that he's just fed up with this guy.
Battery sitting there waiting for people to just come in and take.
Is that any worse than a mountain than a sunken reservoir tank of gas? That's no different. Why is that any different?
Probably larger volume, right?
Possibly, but so what? If it's economic, you just do it.
Right.
And if the battery's all at the bottom of the car, and it's going.
We have Joe Rogan on his podcast here speaking with Dave Smith, and here they were talking about the pandemic and some of the drastic measures and statements being made by some political leaders and the like. Rogan started quoting one of those statements that he found ridiculous. You can hear by the tone of his voice that he was mocking the person in question. He clearly wasn't taking him seriously at all. Clearly, he thought these guys were being ridiculous and he couldn't resist but poke fun at them.
Thrown in everybody's face in New York.
Yeah.
Cuomo was saying, if you know, we got to lock down because you didn't wear your masks. You ate the cheesecake, you're going to get fat. Remember that? Yeah. He was using these down-home analogies like, oh.
In this one, Rogan had Kurt Metzger on his podcast, and they were talking about the issue of Amy Schumer joke theft accusations. Kurt had been accused of stealing her jokes, and while they were talking about this issue, Kurt got really defensive and aggressive when he tried and defended and explained himself to Rogan. It's fair to say that Rogan wasn't enjoying it. Listen to what he says.
In the ocean. and they didn't know how much of a blast it would create.
But what I'm saying,
they didn't have the fucking ability to fake this when they did it.
But all I'm saying is, how do you know it
1940s?
wasn't just a regular powerful bomb? Like, how do you know? How do you know by watching a bomb go off? But how do you know it's nuclear if you watch the bomb?
Pull up the nuclear test.
I don't know what a nuclear bomb looks like when it blows up.
Here, Dave Smith was really surprised about the crowd Donald Trump pulled in Pennsylvania and how the crowd was singing his praises. Joe Rogan then cheekily chimed in and said that this is all down to the failure of the education system.
When he was in Pennsylvania and he drew 53,000 people to his rally in central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And they start off, the first like 4 minutes of it are a chant, "We love you, we love you." I mean, like, what is that? What's going on here? And to just kind of dismiss it, like the corporate press attitude is like, well, it's racism. I think there's a little bit more
failure of the education system.
I mean, I always agree with failure of the education system. That is always an.
Alright, look guys, it's Joe Rogan and Neil deGrasse once again. Yeah, we're not joking when we said that Neil interrupted him pretty much during the whole podcast. Here's another occasion where it happened again, and you should just see the look on Rogan's face. He couldn't believe that this was actually happening.
We place great value on that. So, but it's not our land.
So specifically, these things have to take
Europeans
place.
didn't come to Hawaii and find legions of scientists there conducting experiments. Okay, they found native peoples governing themselves. So that's that.
We end things off with Joe Rogan and someone working behind the scenes of his podcast. They were talking about something and they were trying to verify which bit of information on the subject is true. The verification sparked a bit of a debate, and when Rogan actually found what he was looking for, he made sure to the person he was debating with a mouthful. Check this out.
No, well, Fox News is certainly
I'm not
always
saying
right.
it wasn't being passed around, but I'm saying that it was being passed around under false pretenses.
On Fox News, it says no more than 3 households present, parties no longer than 2 hours, guests must stay outside, avoid singing, chanting, and shouting.
Right, but
again, that's
where is that coming from?
That's Fox News.
California
am I really
Department of Public
convinced?
Health. It's a quote from the California Department of Public. Just Google it, you and don't interrupt Kyle anymore. So.
Thanks for watching this video, everyone. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this and much more. Goodbye for now, everyone. We hope to see you next time here on Talk Center.